Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Podcast. This is Joel Anderson.
This is Jordan Pomaville.
And that is Phil Ranta, the sports outsider.
I don't know anything about sports, so that makes me a that.
You're a that.
You're different
You are
than us.
separate, and you are different.
I'm separate and not equal.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
If you're certainly not equal in terms of sports knowledge.
No, but in terms of body, I am greater than equal, if you know what I mean.
Whoa.
Because I am a sexy dude.
I don't know.
All right, ladies will have to look me
It's been established
up.
that I'm quite fat. But
Right.
Jordan's in pretty good shape.
In pretty good shape.
But I am sexy.
You do. You have the X factor.
Yeah.
You have
I've
the
got
X factor.
Sex factor. Boom.
You're mailing it in today. I can
Yeah.
already tell.
No, I'm not.
You're totally mailing
Are
it
you
in.
kidding me? That wasn't mailing it in. This is pure energy and light. People are loving this.
Did you see any games this week?
Nope.
Did you play any games?
I did. I played Tecmo Super Bowl for the Nintendo Entertainment System, 1991 style with the Detroit Lions.
Woo!
I believe this is week 6.
And you can check that out on YouTube.
YouTube.com/ComedyPodNet. Make sure to check all the back episodes.
Boom. I think, what was it? Full of Brightness and Light?
Yeah.
I think that should be the name of Phil's autobiography.
Yeah.
Full of brightness in life.
Yeah. I could. I don't have a lot to say. I've only been around 31 years, and a lot of them ain't so interesting.
Yeah, but like 31 years is like 89% of how long you're going to live, Phil.
Yeah. If
You're-
I was
you're
one of the
most of the way
fleas that
through
lived
it.
in your apartment, then
Energy
I would have
and
lived
light.
and died
You'd
100
already
times.
be dead, Phil. I took care of that.
They
I
didn't
used-
have time to write their autobiography.
There's
They're
this
gone.
special kind of algae that they dry out, and then it's like a whole bunch of silica. I spread it all over
All
my
right,
carpets.
let's go to
That's
something
how I want to go.
a little more interesting.
Okay.
The green of the grass.
God damn it.
Yes.
The softness of a well-worn glove.
Nope.
The smile of a child eating
I
popcorn
go
at the
get a
ball game.
sandwich.
This is Only Baseball, presented by Sox.
Feel the socks on your feet.
Oh, I love that tagline.
Volume 4, Evolution of the Rules.
I don't believe in
Oh.
evolution. This is bullshit pseudoscience. I don't buy it.
It's not that kind of evolution, Phil. No, this is actually just the really interesting story of how the different rules in baseball came to exist.
Evolution's not a rule, it's a guess.
Shush,
okay?
we got to hear what they're going to say. I'll bet they're going to cover the infield fly rule.
When the National League was formed in 1876, its rules changed nearly every year for the next quarter century.
Oh, that's so different from how baseball is now, Phil.
Oh, God damn it.
In 1883, pitchers were required to deliver pitches with their hand below their hips.
Whoa, is that like underhand?
Yes.
You put your
No.
hand below your hip. When
After
we
the-
dip, you pitch.
After that year, the rule was changed to allow shoulder-high deliveries.
Ooh, sidearm.
In 1885, the rules changed, and until 1893, to allow bats to be flat on one side. However, beginning in 1893, they had to be round. In 1887, the rules were changed so that batters could no longer call for a pitch, and the strike zone was defined as from the shoulders to the knees.
I got an idea. You can draw me a picture instead and just show it to me after the podcast.
Shh, you're interrupting, Phil.
God damn it.
During this period, the pitcher's mound was much closer to home plate. Foul balls were not counted as strikes. Batters got 4 strikes, and the number of called balls resulting in a walk, which initially included strikes and foul balls, went from 9 to 8 to 7 to 6 to 5
To 4.
and in 1884
3.
to 4. In that same year, the number of strikes went from 4 to 3.
God damn, this
So
sucks.
1883 is the year that we get the modern count.
This is...
correct.
You can pinpoint
Awful.
it, Phil. 1883.
Yeah, they're all dead, and there's a reason. I killed them.
In 1887, a rule was adopted for that year, only counting walks as hits, which played havoc with statistics.
Oh, can you imagine? This is part of probably why people don't count old statistics as closely.
Looks like this is the one you were excited about.
Oh.
In 1894, foul bunts were made strikes, and the infield fly rule was adopted with 1 out.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, that's
In 1901, the infield fly rule was extended to apply when there were no outs.
oh my
Tweet
gosh.
to @sports3 podcast telling them to stop #onlybaseball. Stop the segment.
This was Only Baseball, presented by Sox.
God, that was fascinating.
Socks, feel the socks, Adrian. That was awesome.
that's-
Hey, whoa. We have a letter.
What's
We
What's
got
the
a
name?
letter. It's in the.
Yeah, it's
I didn't see the letter.
No, it's right here. It says it's from
It's,
Major League Baseball.
Yeah, it's not a letter.
I
actually,
would've
it's a
seen that.
telegraph.
Oh.
I
it's
didn't
a-
even know we could get
it's words
telegraphs.
on paper.
Hang on, I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
What is this? I wish you guys would have told me we got a telegraph from Major League Baseball. I would have been really excited about
Well, yeah. Okay, hang on, Jordan. I'm reading.
It's part of all the microphones that are everywhere. They told us it was coming.
it. Fuck you, Phil.
Okay, so sports podcast. Stop. You think for telegraph they would have gone S3 podcast? Okay, sports podcast. Stop. This is a cease and desist notice for a piece called Only Baseball. Stop.
What? What? How could they not like Only Baseball?
Only Baseball portrays baseball in a light we don't agree with. Stop.
I agree. I agree. Yes,
It
finally.
says, too exciting, too modern. Don't appreciate our sport being lampooned around like so many Kardashians. Stop. They actually misspelled Kardashians in the first one there.
I'm amazed that
Yeah,
they
I
know
see
who
that
the
they spelled it like a
Kardashians
car.
are.
They
Yeah.
spelled it CAR.
Yeah. So I guess
It's funny that they did car and then they did a dash and then they wrote eons.
you know, and
weird.
I gotta say, Jordan, I think I gotta agree. We did take some creative liberties there. We did sort of try to sell baseball a bit more than it probably needs to be
I
sold.
was reading these were actual things. These
Yep.
was just
No,
It
it's
doesn't
true, but we
matter
really-
because the segment's dead.
We were
the course is
overselling it.
spoken.
We were overselling it.
Yes!
And baseball has told us to stop.
Best
So-
news all day.
I'm not going to say no to Major League Baseball.
What's on the
nobody is.
podcast today, guys?
Well, actually, one thing we
A
should,
heaping helping of disappointment.
No, not from this guy.
Okay. Well, we got to address one thing before we jump into that.
All right.
As some of our longtime listeners may already know, Alex Rodriguez, famed
Hey, my
slugger
buddy.
and third baseman, yes, he's been a paid, emphasis on paid intern at the Sports podcast ever since we had Brian Cashman on the show
Yeah.
some time ago, and he convinced Phil
To take the mystery box.
Yes, to take the remaining
Best move ever
5
made.
years on Alex Rodriguez's albatross of a contract in exchange for a mystery box.
And I got a best friend.
That was kind of a low point for us.
Was a
To be
very
honest,
low
It was a
point.
very low point. However, just last month,
We should have known it was a human-sized mystery box.
Right.
We should have known a human was
We
inside
really-
of it.
There
No,
was-
it could have been a robot.
I would again like to point out that I was not present for this transaction.
You
I
weren't.
feel like I would have stopped it. That said, just last month we were actually discussing with the Sports podcast in-house counsel this deal that we made, and he was had some very interesting things to say. Things like that in no way, shape, or form constitutes a legal transaction, and how is this the first that I'm hearing about this? So after that, we actually sent A-Rod back to the Yankees.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, and you probably realize this because almost immediately he got in a lot of trouble.
I was going to say, he's been rehabbing, and there's
Yep,
been...
he's been attempting
Wait,
rehab.
what? That's why he hasn't been around? You sent
Yeah.
him away?
We did.
Yeah, he's
You
gone.
said he was going to a farm up north.
Nope. Well, that's not entirely. I mean, AAA affiliate for the Yankees is in
What?
Going to a farm team. He was going to a farm
You took
team.
my A-Rod away?
Yeah.
Yes, we took your A-Rod away.
You monsters!
But now he's going to be... He could be banned from baseball for like 1 or 2 years.
So
or life.
it's entirely possible that he's going to wind up getting suspended because of this whole biogenesis scandal. There's also, a lot of discussion as to whether or not, A-Rod, the Yankees are.
Who do we have on
intentionally
the show
keeping him off
today?
the field. So we have 4 different.
That
people.
was a setup to a guest? What the fuck was that?
4
That
guests.
was like 3
The
minutes.
whole show today is wall to wall.
Who do we have?
A-Rod.
Who do we have?
All right, who do we got?
We have Union Rep Steve Dagwood.
Okay, of
who's
the
here to talk-
MLBPA.
yeah,
right?
MLBPA rep, who's here to talk to us about where the union stands on this. We
Okay.
got Brian Cashman back on the show.
Yankees GM.
All right.
Yankees GM. We have Bud Selig back in the show to talk to us about baseball stance on biogenesis and Alex Rodriguez. And the one, the only Scott Boris.
Oh, wow.
Legendary
Super
money
agent.
grabber and super agent Scott Boris here to talk to us about the A-Rod situation.
Love rocking
All right,
Bullwinkle.
Phil, we got an all-new weird sport.
You goddamn right we do.
All right,
All right.
and we got news.
Yeah, we got all these things.
Let's get started. All right, now welcome to the studio, Yankees general manager Brian Cashman. Brian, welcome.
Hello,
He's the
guys.
Cashman.
Yeah, hello. Good to be back on the show.
Now, Brian, you know why you're here.
I believe I do. I think we're talking about Alex Rodriguez.
Alex Rodriguez, New York Yankee for the next 5 years, we think.
Next 4 years after this one.
Now, there's been...
I mean, specifically, it's 4 years, 37 days.
Oh, you're counting down.
You seem
That's
oddly specific about this.
Yeah,
And here's the point, is because A-Rod himself has basically said that he thinks the Yankees are trying to keep him in rehab and keep him in the minor leagues and not even get a chance to come up to the big league club this year.
That is just ridiculous. I mean, why wouldn't we want a player of A-Rod's caliber coming up here to the big leagues and playing for our club?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Having
He's
a
a
rough
good
year,
bro.
tough time scoring runs, and Alex Rodriguez's prodigious power.
He does have a bit of a declining skill set, though.
Okay, I guess now that you mention it, I might have noticed that A-Rod's skills have been on the decline. I guess some would say substantially on the decline for the last couple of years. And as the person paying him $28 million this season, it's maybe a little frustrating. But we still obviously want A-Rod back. Why wouldn't we want him back?
Well, don't you have an insurance policy that if A-Rod doesn't come back, you can recoup 80% of that $27 million you owe him?
Jeepers. I guess it seems like it's possible that we might have a policy like that. I would have to check with the people involved with those things.
But
on our
aren't you
team.
you're the person involved with those things?
That's like a low level.
You're the general manager of the team.
You should check with. Well, let's check. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. No, your insurance person didn't show up. I would assume.
they. Oh yeah,
I thought that's how you find out about your insurance.
it's
right?
not actually through State Farm. But listen,
okay.
obviously recouping 80% of $27 million for a worthless player. I mean, a player whose
Whoa!
whose skills are
Don't
somewhat
call
on
my
the-
friend worthless.
I didn't say worthless. I don't know what you guys are talking about. But no, I mean, it would be totally unscrupulous of us to try and prevent A-Rod from reaching the field this year. And that's why we're just not doing that. We're absolutely committed to getting him on the field just as soon as A-Rod is completely healthy. That said, latest I've heard from Yankee team doctor, strep throat.
Oh, wow.
Whoa!
Yep, strep throat.
That's the worst. You can cough blood.
All right.
Yeah, and cold and clammy palms. So, you can't have him playing
That
with those.
might be from a nightmare.
He could be ill.
This
Yep,
seems
but-
suspicious, Brian.
What?
But thank you very much for joining us today. We appreciate your
okay,
take
well, yeah,
on Alex Rodriguez.
Good to be back on the show.
News on the Sports Podcast with Jordan, Joel, and Phil.
News.
All right.
Jonathan Papelbon says what everyone is thinking. The Phillies really suck.
Or I have a goofy name. Jonathan Papelbon. I'm going to say what everybody's thinking. My name's Silly. Is that a gumdrop? Look, they're in my eyes. I have gumdrop eyes. Papelbon.
Yeah, yes, Phil.
I guarantee that's what he sounds like.
Yeah.
This season, I'm sorry.
Nope.
Okay, so this season he's 20 for 25 in save opportunities. He's 2-0 with an ERA of 2.21. And because the Phillies are likely out of it this year, Papelbon's name has been mentioned in trade rumors. Silly trade rumors. So what say you, Jonathan Papelbon? No, I would like to stay here. But if I'm going to have to put up with this year after year, then no, I don't want to be here. Why would you? Why would anybody?
Whoa. He's an angry Papelbon.
He went on to say, it's going to take a lot. In my opinion, a lot. And in my opinion, I think it's going to have to be something very similar to what the Red Sox went through a couple of years ago, from top to bottom. Starting at the top, of course, means boneheads who gave an aging closer a $50 million contract in 2011.
Ew.
He's basically telling them they need to rebuild, and as part of that rebuilding process, they need to trade him because no one wants to play for a rebuilding loser.
That's fair. I don't want to be on a loser team.
That's part of it. That's part of the business, Papelbon said of player turnover. If you want to go in a different direction, and I'm not a piece of that puzzle, so be it.
I'm a piece of a multicolored puzzle in 3 dimensions. The third dimension's time. It's flat.
I was going to say, that does not sound like a Puzz 3D ad.
No.
But you mean time.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
two-dimensional puzzle with the time as the third dimension instead of the Z-axis.
There are no feelings in this game. I left Boston. Carl left. Josh left. Adrian left. Now look at him.
Are those members of Entourage?
Yeah! Oh, yeah!
Let's leave Boston, Josh and Eric.
All right. The Red Sox are currently in first place, but it's odd to throw an entire franchise under the bus comparing them to the dysfunctional 2011 Red Sox.
Yeah.
But yeah, just kind of funny. He's basically spouting off on his own team, saying, "You guys suck, trade me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, luckily he's a cartoon character, so none of it really mattered.
Yeah, he's gonna get
Papelbon!
I say, hey, listen, frank, honest. Let's give him at least a little credit.
Yeah.
In the world of response to questions and
Oh,
sports
yeah.
interviews, nobody ever says shit that means anything.
I'm frank honest. I'm Papelbon's boss in this cartoon.
They're all morality plays.
They are.
Yeah.
They all are.
Well, I really should tell the truth more often, Frank. Honest.
Yeah, right. You should, Papelbon. Hold hands and walk into the sunset with me.
Papelbon, not Papelbon.
I don't know. I didn't see it written on paper.
Yeah, okay.
Terrelle Pryor said he didn't know how to throw a football before this offseason.
Prior to the offseason?
Everyone else said, yeah, we knew that.
I don't know how I missed that.
Yeah.
I
His
don't
last
know how
name's Pryor. And he said before the offseason.
Let me try it again.
All right.
Terrelle Pryor said he didn't know how to throw a football prior to this offseason.
Whoa! Jordan is the king of wordplay.
Coming off the shocking news reported earlier this offseason that Michael Vick didn't know the correct way to carry a football until spring camp.
That's not shocking. Everybody knew that.
Terrelle Pryor makes this startling admission that is actually only startling if you've never seen him play. I never really knew how to throw a football before. They got me going in the right direction to be a pretty good quarterback who knows how to throw the ball.
That's good.
That's
because-
often part of being a good quarterback.
Well, despite Phil's success running the ball with Joe Montana and Tecmo Super Bowl,
Very good
quarterbacks
success.
in today's NFL must throw the ball.
yeah. Well,
Well, geez.
what about, no, I mean, Tim Tebow couldn't throw the ball, and he's obviously a wildly successful. Oh, yeah.
Tight
Rodney
end
Peete.
filling in for a murderer.
Rodney Peete in 1991 couldn't throw the ball, so he only runs two when Barry Sanders is injured.
Is Barry Sanders injured in the?
Week 2 and week 3, Barry Sanders was injured.
Oh, you gotta watch YouTube.
Well, anyway, he learned how to throw. How did he learn to throw a football this offseason? I asked rhetorically.
With a ragtag coach and a bunch of kids.
Well, he worked all offseason with former Major League pitcher Tom House.
Yeah.
Oh no, Terrelle. Was the football you were throwing round and white with red stitching? Actually, while being a former major leaguer, Tom House is a throwing guru who's worked with other quarterbacks like Tom Brady.
Oh,
However-
Tom Brady's a pretty good passer.
Yeah, however, actually, it was mostly hairstyling tips with Tom
Right.
Brady.
That's fair.
Just Pryor was reportedly confused when throwing guru Tom House would not accept Ohio State memorabilia or tattoo shop gift cards as payment for his services.
Oh, that's too bad.
Completely baffled. Adrian Peterson to break Emmitt Smith's all-time rushing record in 2017. Subheadline: acknowledges he may have to use Blade Runner legs.
That's fair. Not being used, right?
After finishing last season, yeah, they're in storage right
Right,
now. You
yeah.
can't wear those in prison.
Yeah.
There's
that's
actually
In prison, he's the rape stump.
Right, exactly. You just got little peg legs.
that's awful.
Hey, rape stump!
Waddle, waddle,
That's
Well,
there's
he
actually,
killed a woman. I don't
Yeah.
feel that bad.
No, yeah, but there's a new Blade Runner guy. There's the new guy who's
The sequel.
broken his records at the Paralympics, wants to compete in the Olympics, and right now the times he's putting up would win at the Olympics in the 400.
Really? What
sequels
country
are
is he
never as
from?
good.
Oh, I don't know. I'd have to look this up. My brother sent me an email this morning.
One of those
Oh.
countries where you cut your own legs
I
off
saw
to
that.
win world records.
But that's on it. Yeah, it's a new level of controversy if a guy comes in and wins with no legs.
Oh,
I feel.
absolutely.
Yeah.
After finishing last season just 8 yards shy of Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record, Peterson has his eyes on another record. Emmitt Smith's all-time rushing record of 18,355 yards.
Whoa.
Which is
Now-
a pretty bullshit record.
Now let's all bow our heads close to our microphones and grumble for a few seconds about how Barry Sanders would have had that record, was and is the greatest running back of all time.
I mean, he clearly
right,
would have
yeah,
gotten
come
there.
on,
He was like
Barry
15.
Sanders
It was an
is
average
technically
season
best
for Barry
player.
Sanders. He
Would
averaged
have been-
5 yards a carry over the course of
I
his
got
career.
5,000 rushing yards at Tecmo Super Bowl.
Right?
He has the math figured out to the game.
Whoa.
Week 16 of the 2017 season. However, he did not break down the math on a per-game basis. Someone else did that for him. It would require him to average 120.3 yards for the next 79 games. When this was relayed to him, Peterson said, "Woo, that's pushing it, huh? But hey, pushing it's the only way to do it. You know it."
I think that's a good response.
Yeah.
I like that he did the math to figure out, like, I'm going to break this record, and it's good to set goals. I'm going to do it this year at this game if I average. And he didn't take a step back to think what he would need to do on the per-game basis.
Right.
And then when it was said to him, it was like, oh, shoot.
He can do it.
That is a lot.
Well, what if he just played another 16 games beyond that or something? Then it's less, right?
Yeah,
Well, you can
79
only
games
play-
is how many seasons?
He said he'd do it in the 2017 season.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So he set
He
a time
picked the
limit.
se-
That
yeah.
was a mistake.
That was because there's a ton of questions. You
Right.
know, does he have the longevity?
Right.
Can he stay healthy?
As long as
Right.
he keeps using HGH, yeah.
Will advances in drug testing technology slow him down?
Right.
Stepping on my punchline, Joel.
And will they have
Thank you.
jetpacks in
Sorry.
football by 2017? I think they might.
Will there be a Blade Runner in football by 2017?
Oh, he'd be slitting throats and slitting hearts. Think about it.
No, there's nothing to think about.
If you think about it, he'll be slitting
Phil,
hearts.
you slit my heart.
I think still in the NFL, he'd probably be Rape Stump. Joining us now is MLB Union Rep Stephen Dagwood. Stephen, welcome to the show.
Hello? I just want to say how outraged I am at the disappointing treatment for Alex Rodriguez.
Well, how do you mean? I think he's being treated fair.
No, he is being treated terribly. The Yankees, this is an abomination, and it's terrible.
Whoa.
After all of the time that we in America have spent fighting for workers' rights, the labor movement in America has not come to this point to have a worker abused and placed in unfair working conditions like Mr. Alex Rodriguez is right now.
Yeah! Woo! IRA!
No, that's a different one. That's a
Oh,
different one.
Sorry,
That's
I
our
went the
St.
wrong
Patrick's
rally.
Day cheer.
Okay, cool.
That's our St. Patrick's Day cheer.
All right.
Protestants. Okay. But no, you say unsafe working conditions, but he has a great working conditions. He's down there at the Yankees facility in Tampa.
He's being forced not to play right now. The doctor that they're sending to him is a management doctor, not a doctor selected from A-Rod's side or by the union. Okay, much of this has not been approved. Okay, have you guys ever heard of the Triangle Shirtwaist Company?
No,
The Triangle Shirtwaist?
The Triangle Shirtwaist Company. In the early 20th century, one of their factories had terrible working standards. They used to lock the doors to keep the employees inside. A fire broke out. 50 people leapt to their death rather than be burned alive
Oh my
right
God.
there in Manhattan.
Oh.
And this is exactly what the Yankees are trying to perpetrate against Alex Rodriguez right now.
Yeah, secession or death. Secession or death.
No, Phil, that's a different one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's when we go to spring break and
Oh, yeah.
Gulf Shores.
Right.
Now, no, that is not it at all, because he's paid millions of dollars. This is not the same as the unfair, unsafe working conditions that we were tackling in the early labor movement. Major League Baseball players' minimum salary is like close to $400,000, and they're compensated very well for their work.
Well, you say that, but Alex is not working right now.
Okay.
Okay, and again, I just really feel like this is an instance where we are just getting bullied. Okay, the players are getting bullied by the owners, and they are not getting their due.
Yeah,
but
send our
that's
jobs
why
to players not south of the border.
I am heading out
Save
right
that
now
chant for never.
Okay.
to start picketing in memory of Alex Rodriguez and the 3,200 coal miners who died in this country in 1907. Both are going to be side by side on display. Okay?
Thank you, Stephen.
Hey, ho, ho, the corn lobby has to go. Hey, ho, ho, the corn lobby has to go.
All right,
Hey.
sympathy strike.
Yeah.
Joining us in the studio now, super agent, Major League Baseball super agent, Scott Boris.
All right,
there,
guys, let's
Scott.
make this quick. I only got 5 minutes before I got to jump on the phone again.
Okay, all right.
You still calling that the horn or the blower?
Nah, we called the phone. What age are you from, huh?
All right.
Okay,
What the hell
Scott.
is wrong with you?
All right,
was
what
that
do
a question?
It was a question.
All right, let's speed it up.
One of your biggest clients, A-Rod,
Yeah,
negotiated
A-Rod,
2 of the biggest
superstar.
contracts in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Now looking like he's going to get suspended.
Yeah, well, my 10% isn't going to be suspended. That's for sure. Am I right? Who wants some cocaine? Anyone want cocaine?
Oh,
No,
Scott,
please,
Scott,
don't-
you should
How
not-
about a Perrier?
People are going to
Perrier
listen.
cocaine?
I'll
All right,
take a
that's
Perrier,
fair.
actually.
All right,
I like
there's
the
a
water.
Perrier.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, that's are you? I mean, how are you dealing with this? One of your biggest clients is being treated terribly by the
Hey,
Yankees.
whoa. Terribly? Come on. I always tell people, the teams that I negotiate, hey, if they get suspended, you don't have to pay them, all right? I mean, that's made the contracts easier since drug testing became such a big part of the game, huh? Do you guys want an underage prostitute?
No,
No,
that's
sure.
awful.
Scott,
All right,
that's
just making sure.
seriously.
Hey, I thought I would be hospitable, all right? You got 3 more minutes.
But no, well, Scott, speaking of being hospitable,
Yeah.
like right now, your client thinks that the Yankees are out to get him. He thinks that they're trying to prevent him from playing, okay? And I would think that you'd be going in there and fighting for your client.
What, you want me to fight for my client, huh?
Yeah.
You want me to fight my Hey, 10% is 10%, buddy, all right? It's 10% whether I get it here. It's 10% whether I get it in a whorehouse in Tijuana. It's 10% whether I get it on a hot air balloon with 3 Russian hookers.
Why would you get 10% from a whorehouse
Yeah, I
in
don't.
Tijuana?
That does not track. I don't.
No,
follow.
all I'm saying is I get my 10% either way. Who gives a fuck,
well,
right?
A-Rod,
Come
your
on.
client, A-Rod gives a fuck.
Look, he's getting 90%, all right? I can show you the math, but you look too dumb to understand it,
Well,
all
if
right?
he's suspended, he won't get
is 9
paid.
times what I get on my 10%, and look at my suit jacket, huh? It's made out of human.
That is
what?
awful.
That
You should
is
be arrested
terrible.
for that.
It's made out of dyed human. It's legal where I bought it from, let me tell you.
It's definitely not legal here. That's it seems like this is an awfully crass and materialistic perspective in your part. It seems like you'd still care. I mean, just because A-Rod's entire
Yeah.
contract, which is through his age 41 season, and it's completely paid whether you know, he might have a point, Jordan.
I got a point here, am I right?
The contracts are guaranteed.
yeah,
He's
the
getting his
contracts are
money.
guaranteed. You're making that money one way
Now
or the
let
other.
me tell you how to start a pyramid scheme and get a bunch of brokies to give up their money.
Why would you need a pyramid scheme? You made $27 million off of A-Rod's contract
Hey,
last
Scott,
contract
can we
alone.
talk off the air? I'm
Yeah,
actually
of course we could talk off the
I'm
air,
actually
but you
really-
got about 30 seconds, so we better get off the air quick.
Well, okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna go. I need this money.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Scott Boris.
For you, the listeners of Sports Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. I personally recommend a wonderful book called The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. Joel saw the movie. He said that it was okay. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network. Again, that's audibletrial.com/comedy podcast network for your free audiobook. And now it's time for another Weird Sports! Weird Sports.
That was painful.
I made myself laugh in the middle of it. All right, this week's Weird Sport, Venatio.
A beg pardon?
Venatio.
Is this Italian?
No, I think it's
Sounds
Latin. Venatio, which is Latin for hunt. The plural is
Last time I was hanging out with your mom, she
Venatio.
put on a Vijay show. Boom!
I hated that joke. Was a form of
That's Latin for hunt.
yeah.
Vijay show?
Yeah, no.
Vijay show is Latin for hunt. Or it's also a CW show coming this fall. The Vijay show. Was a form of entertainment in Roman amphitheaters involving the hunting and slaying of wild animals.
So this is like a historical weird sport.
Yeah, it's like a Colosseum-y sport.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like those gladiator games, right?
So the hunting and slaying, I mean, how much hunting would there be if you're in the Coliseum? It's like, well, he's down here somewhere.
Well, maybe I should get into this shit. All
Okay.
right. The history of it: exotic wild beasts from the far reaches of the Roman Empire were brought to Rome, and hunts were held
Like
in the
ducks.
morning. Yeah, kind of like ducks in a barrel, right?
Yeah.
Put a bunch of ducks in a barrel, easy to kill.
Anything in a barrel is easy to kill.
Yeah, unless it's like a sponge, like sponges, like sea sponges.
Oh, you can't really
You
kill
stab
those.
them. Still alive.
Also, I don't know if you knew this about me. I am especially lethal when I'm in a barrel.
Yes.
You just try and kill me in a Jordan. You come at me when I'm in a barrel. I'm outside.
Especially if you put
I'm
him in a
not
barrel
gonna.
full of loaded guns. Then it's very dangerous. He's just shooting wildly. Hunts were held the morning prior to the afternoon main event of gladiatorial duels.
So this was like the warm-up act for the gladiators.
Kind of. It's like the Jimmy Pardo to a Conan taping.
Yeah.
Jimmy Pardo to a Conan taping.
Does he do the warm-up
He's the
act?
warm-up guy. He's the warm-up guy.
Okay.
Make sure to check out the Never Not Funny podcast with Jimmy Pardo. Very funny. The hunts were held in the Roman Forum, the Septa, and in the Circus Maximus, which you may know as a Vegas casino.
I believe it was also the most circusy circus
Oh, I believe
in
it.
Rome. Hence the name Circus Maximus.
Yeah. It's the Gladiator 2 is where they named the circus after Maximus Aurelius.
Right.
And
A lot of people haven't seen that.
a lot of people died.
In the
A lot of people
casino
died in that
Circus
movie.
Circus?
I don't know. Shut up. Though none of these venues offered protection to the crowd from the wild animals on display.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
actually interesting.
I'm leaning forward.
Yeah, there we go.
Who wants to sit in the front row? No, nobody? Nobody?
Front row is the splash zone. It's probably your own blood. Special precautions were taken to prevent the animals from escaping these venues, such as the erection of barriers and the digging of ditches. Very few animals survived these hunts, though they did sometimes defeat the bestiarius, or hunters of the wild beast. Sometimes the hunters got killed.
By the animals.
the
By
Hunters.
the aminals, yes.
Were the hunted.
Yeah, sometimes the humans were the most dangerous prey. I don't know if that's how the quote goes. Thousands of wild animals would be slaughtered in one day. It would be a bloodbath.
A bloodbath.
They would take exotic animals. Some would be flamingos. Some would be elephants. They'd just go and have a good old time slaying them all.
Okay.
People would watch him kill flamingos? That just seems...
They were just
That was not very
assorted,
sporting.
crazy wild
Nor are
beasts.
they indigenous to Rome.
Well, they were
Monkeys,
indigenous to
maybe?
the Roman Empire.
Yeah, gorillas maybe.
See, a gorilla I could see, even a monkey, but the flamingo, I feel like that's like you work like
Their
you know,
legs bend backwards.
Yeah.
That's not
yeah.
fair.
Maybe
Phil is
penguins.
the
Maybe they
Phil
have
is
some
the new
penguins in there.
gladiator on the block, and he's just sort of like, all right, Phil, listen, we don't want to toss you into the deep end too fast here, so
Here's a Pekingese.
yes.
Yep, exactly. During the inauguration of the Colosseum, over 9,000 animals were killed in one Venatio.
Wow.
Yeah, right? 9,000 animals in a day.
Would they eat the meat afterwards? I hope.
I sure
They
hope
would.
so. Here's the thing: you mix too many different foods, though, and it gives you a bad tummy.
Yeah, they don't really say.
I actually had that
But I
recently.
assume that they were probably like, they would just like, the gladiators would come out and just be covered in animal blood and just be like, I did it. And then they would just throw out the rest. Right? Maybe there was food. I don't know. Maybe they ate it afterwards. Not all the animals were ferocious, though most were. Animals that appeared in the Venatio included lions, elephants, bears, deer, wild goats, dogs, and rabbits.
Rabbit would be especially entertaining.
you gotta
That
chase
rabbit,
the
yeah.
rabbit.
You gotta chase
Okay.
them
That
down.
would be the
I
time
see
when they
that.
get like the little gladiators, like the 5-year-olds. Now it's time for the rabbit competition, and the little kids would run around and slaughter and smear the blood on their face and be generally
It
psychotic.
could be like the rabbit from Monty Python's Quest for the Holy Grail, though.
Yeah. Reports of tigers being used during such games are false and are attributed to the eventual demonetization of beast hunts. I don't know what that means.
Monetization?
Oh, demonetization, like demonizing.
Oh.
Demonization.
I thought they meant like no longer monetizing.
Yeah.
Like they weren't making money from it.
they went non-profit.
They were, not for profit. Game of Venatio.
How would you be demonizing by saying they had tigers in them?
I think that it's because they wanted to show it as being more dangerous and ferocious.
But, I mean, they
They
didn't
had
have
the
I think it's like a
lions,
human
right?
slaughter. Right, I don't know.
Yeah,
Fuck
whatever.
it. Some of these animals were trained and instead of fighting, performed tricks. Which
And
I
then
love.
they
Cruel
killed
fate.
him.
They had
Oh,
Yappy the
cruel fate.
backflipping dog on the side while everybody else was getting murdered.
You caught 5 frisbees,
Yep.
head chopped off.
Yes, exactly. But as he caught the frisbee, that's when they swung the sword and knocked its head off. So
The mouth had already the head.
That
had
must
a
be really
frisbee.
frustrating
Then
for
the
the animal
lockjaw.
trainer. He's like,
Yeah.
we spent 2 years teaching him how to... They
That
just lopped his head
squirrel
off.
being pulled by the electronic boat on water skis.
Yeah.
It took years.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
just put a sword through his face.
Yeah. You think you're better than me, squirrel? Revered for its ferocity, the lion was extremely popular in Venatios and gladiatorial shows. Thus, the dictator Caesar, or Caesar, used the 400 lions imported primarily from North Africa and Syria in the circus, where the inclusion of foreign animals loaned his shows extra panache.
Kaiser's actually how you pronounce it in Latin.
It is. That's
Yeah.
true.
The Caesar a hard K and AE is an I diphthong, so it's
That's
Kaiser.
why I said it, Joel. Jeez!
You
Thanks,
also
just because I don't know anything about sports.
you also
I
said
don't know anything
you also said revered earlier for revered, so I just thought maybe every
We weren't
pronunciation
gonna
was
bring that up. We weren't
exactly-
gonna bring that
because
up.
Rever was the name of a website that was a video hosting platform in the mid-2000s. Jeez.
Silly me.
Indeed, obtaining the animals from the far-flung corners of the empire was an ostentatious display of wealth and power by the emperor or other patron of the populace, and was meant to demonstrate Roman power of the whole human and animal world, and to bring the plebes of Roman exotic animals they might have not otherwise seen.
Goodness.
Yeah, right?
That sounds great. I mean, if
Whoever
I'm-
wrote that sentence, I hate. I want to freaking Venatio his head off because of the ostentatious of that sentence. Right? All right, executions. Following the Venatio, in the order of the daily events, was the execution of convicted Roman citizens of lower status, also called the humiliores.
Oh, how humiliating.
Yes, they'd be like, we killed the animals. Who's ready for people? Yeah!
Main event.
Bring out the humiliores. Ugh, I'm humiliated. Usual forms of execution included burning at the stake, crucifixion, and ad bestias, where the prisoner is left alone in the ring with one or more wild animals.
Boy, I gotta tell you guys, if I'm sitting here thinking to myself, what kind of execution do I most want to see for my entertainment dollar? Or my entertainment coin, us?
Yeah, the monetization.
Definitely ad bestias.
Yeah.
Right. I would feel ripped off if, like, I paid good money for good tickets and I
Yeah.
got crucifixion. Like,
Right.
oh, great, because I have 4 days.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to watch nails go in the hands and then just sit and hang out.
yeah.
Well, they
boring.
bleed.
That's
No.
And also,
bad.
yeah, like burning at the stake seems like a bit of a cop-out. Like,
Well, I don't know. That's more
it's
exciting.
a quick, easy. It's better than crucifixion, sure, but I'd still be like, I'd really like to see
Guys,
it.
let's save all of these discussions for when we do the weird sport of crucifixion. And that brings an end to another Weird Sports!
Joining us now, Commissioner of Major League Baseball, Bud Selig. Bud,
Hey guys, how's it
that
going? Good to be
voice.
back.
Jeez.
it's great to have you back, Bud. You know, Phil, I love having Bud on the show.
I think
Oh,
that
and
you're
I
a
love
little-
being on the show.
geez.
I do
thank
really
you.
love being on.
Thank
It's
you.
a,
Too much
it's a
optimism.
great little show you guys do here.
Little?
Though
This
I-
is our lives.
Well, I couldn't find it on the radio last time.
Oh,
Well,
I hate
Bud,
you.
it's okay. We'll explain it later. But we got to ask you, and I hate asking you the tough questions because
Oh.
I'm a big fan of the game. A-Rod.
Oh, yep.
Did you have sex with that woman?
No.
Oh,
Phil,
sorry.
knock it off.
All right.
Well, unless you're talking about Mama Selig. But I mean, that's what my children call my wife.
Oh, God, phew. Jesus. My heart went up into my throat when
Well,
you
that
said
would-
that.
That would be obvious, wouldn't it? I
explain
clearly
your
wasn't.
sick-
I thought it was obvious, Bud. Phil, you're messed up.
Okay.
Bud, A-Rod. You got to
Yep,
ask you
well-
point blank. What's going on
Okay,
here?
well, listen. All right. I want you two both to prepare yourself, because I know you're familiar with A-Rod. He's quite a big star.
He is.
in
Yes.
Major League Baseball.
And friend.
I think, as it would turn out, Mr. Rodriguez might not be the most honest person we have currently in baseball.
You take
It's
that back.
entirely possible that he has been not completely forthright about a few things.
Well, like what? Tell us.
It's beginning to look more and more. I know Alex came to me this offseason and he said to me, "Hey, real bummer, but I'm going to have to change my doctor." And that was his explanation for why he was maybe having some problems with his hip. But as it would turn out, he had to change his doctor because it's possible that doctor was not such a good doctor. That he was selling performance-enhancing drugs.
Wait, you know what those are?
I do know what those are. I believe they were used once or twice in 1998, and since then they haven't.
Well, they've been used kind of a lot recently. This whole biogenesis scandal, there's like 20 players.
Yep. Well, we're digging into that, and obviously we're all just a little disappointed by some of these findings. It's looking more and more like a few different players have been using the drugs, even though they were illegal.
All of them.
Bad
all
apples.
Of them.
Some
All
bad
of them
apples.
using it. Nope.
Not all of them.
And I gotta be
Bunch of
honest, I don't
juiced
know.
up
I don't
meatheads.
know what else Major League Baseball could have done. I mean, it's against the law for them to have these drugs without a prescription anyway, and then we made it illegal. So
You could have investigated, Bud.
well, how
You're
were
the
we
commissioner.
supposed to? I mean, what,
Everybody knew, Bud.
we were just supposed to assume that the fine young
Everybody
men
knew,
playing
Bud.
Major League Baseball weren't playing by the rules.
Everybody knew, Bud.
Well, Bud Selig didn't know, but obviously now we're doing what we have to do to correct some of these mistakes.
And what is one of those actions that you plan on doing?
Well, I'm going to sit down with each and every player and ask them to their face. Are you using performance-enhancing substances?
And while you're asking them, you're going to stick them with a needle and take a vial of their blood, right?
Well, I don't imagine that if I sat down and had a one-on-one with them, I don't think they would lie to me.
Oh, God.
I love you, Bud. I really do. I worry that your naivety has been not the greatest for the game.
Naivete?
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know what to say to that.
Look, Jordan used to rever you, and now he doesn't anymore.
Do you mean Revere? Like Ben Revere?
Why are you letting this happen to your league?
Well,
Why are you letting
I
this?
don't know about letting it happen.
You should be
guys.
arrested as an accessory.
Whoa, that's
Yep.
a little harsh.
Listen,
Accessory.
I like baseball, everybody. You know, and not the sort of new flashy baseball that you guys had on display during your segment Only Baseball, which I appreciate the creative effort. Just, maybe just a little too fast-paced for me, to be
God, I
honest.
hate you.
But the old-time baseball, and that's what we want to try and get back to. And that's why, again, we're going to take real steps here, like sitting down with the players and asking them if they're using drugs, and then, I don't know, maybe also sitting down with them again after next season. Just keeping the pressure on, continuing to ask them, are you using performance-enhancing drugs?
What happens when they say yes? When they say yes, I'm using performance-enhancing
Oh, I'm
drugs.
pretty sure none of them are going to say yes. None of them ever say yes. I assume because they're not using performance-enhancing drugs.
All right, Bud, we're talking in circles here. It's been great to have you on the show.
Oh, it's been great to be back. And once again, is it because I'm not getting the AM dial in quite the right place? Because sometimes you really got to.
We're going to send you a link. We'll send you a link through email.
Hyperlink.
A link?
In email. It's on iTunes.
You're gonna mail me the station that it's gonna be on?
Yes,
Why
we're
don't
gonna
you
put a
just-
wax seal on a letter that's got the. God,
You do need the wax seal a lot of times. You don't want people going through.
Thanks
your mail.
for showing up, Bud.
Citizens of Podcast Town, this brings to the end another sports podcast. But before we go, Phil would like to give you our contact information.
You can email us at sportspodcast@gmail.com. That's sportspodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at us at sports3podcast. That's at sports3podcast. You can find us on Facebook by searching Sports Podcast. Your little top bar thingy. You can find us on Stitcher Radio. Download the Stitcher app today at Stitcher.com. Search Sports Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/comedypodnet. While you're there, please check out me playing Tecmo Super Bowl as the 1991 Detroit Lions, and make sure to comment and subscribe and blah, blah, blah. You can find us on iTunes by searching the Sports 3 Space Podcast. It's Sports 3, all one word, Space Podcast. While you're there, please rate and review. And for all of our back episodes, go to comedypodcastnetwork.com.
Tell you what, that union rep outside, I think, heard Phil suggesting to Bud Selig that you just take a drug test right there without their permission or anything.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
Am I going to get in trouble? Or is
Yeah.
Bud going to get in trouble? What are the ramifications?
The union rep appears to be piping mad. Do we know why he's picketing our office?
And why is he talking about the corn lobby?
Yeah.
That was you. That was
you
you.
started the corn lobby.
I just wanted to acknowledge it.
Lights off.
You have received this transmission from the Comedy Podcast Network. For more shows, visit comedypodcastnetwork.com.